Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome back to House of Chi Yoga. Today we just need a mat with us, and we're going to do a semi-strong flow, a little bit more just flowy movement to get into the joints and the fascia and wake up the muscles. Not too much work, but just something that's kind of good for all around health and well-being. So let's begin on our knees, and if it's not comfortable for you to just sit on your knees, you could place a block or a pillow under your butt here, or just go to seated position, whatever is comfortable for you. We don't want pressure on the knees if you're not ready for this one yet. Let's take our fingertips down to the floor, give it a little tap here to start. And then you can close your eyes or just bring the gaze down and feel the connection of the fingertips into the floor. As we inhale, we're just lifting the chin up. Exhale, bringing the chin back down, keeping the fingertip connection to the floor. Take the breath a little deeper this time. Exhale, bring the hands facing up, palms up in the lap. And notice the sensations at the fingertips. Notice the sensation from the fingertips up through the fingers, moving towards the palm. From the palm moving into the wrist through the forearm. Noticing from the forearm around the elbow up into the bicep, the tricep, the upper arm, all the way into the shoulder. And then bring your awareness from shoulder to shoulder, right to heart center. And we can take both palms and place them at the heart. Taking deep inhales, deep, long exhales from heart center. Feeling a connection with yourself, with the space around you. If there's anything you'd like to bring into your practice today, go ahead and bring it in. Or just use this moment to center yourself, to connect to yourself, and to get ready to move on our mats. Inhale, palms rise. Interlace the fingers, press them up towards the ceiling. Open up the heart, open up the gaze, open up the mouth. And then let the hands go down. And let's shift a little farther forward, start rolling through the shoulders. As you roll through the shoulders, you're opening up the back muscles. You can relax the head down. Unrolling back through center. Inhale, palms rise again. Exhale, elbows down. Hold a strong 90 degree. And then just push forward and open back up, feeling the scaps move away from the spine. Scaps move toward the spine. I'm also rotating my palms, so my wrists are getting some action. And then we'll take the hands facing forward and just reach up and across body. You can let the hips move a little bit side to side. Now the left hand is going to go all the way to the floor. Right hand's going to go up. Big sweeping circles through the right arm. Right hand goes to the back of the head. Push the head into the palm. Feel some opening in the chest. Feel the back of the neck muscles. And you can exhale, bring right elbow down to left knee. Inhale as you lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale, lower. This time as we lower, we're going to square the hips up and just take a twist towards the left side. Any kind of movement here through the rib cage. As you add movement, just try to keep the shoulders right in line with the hips, right over the hips. And then we'll come back through center with that left palm. Squeeze the elbows wide as you roll vertebrae by vertebrae all the way through the spine. Think about lengthening, lifting, becoming light through the upper body. On the way down this time, hands go to the mat, forehead goes to the floor. Take a breath. Recenter. And then bring it all the way back up. This time, right arm stays down, left side opens up. And you can add your sweeping circles through the left arm. Hand goes to the back of the head. Push the head into the palm. Exhale as you bring elbow to knee. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you lower. Inhale. Exhale. Let's go for one more. This side feels a little tighter. And then we'll land in our spinal twist. Any movement here. Again, we're adding movement, but we're keeping the shoulders squared over the hips. And anything that feels good to your spine, to your rib cage. No movement is wrong here. Actually, all movement is right here. Okay, I'm losing track of myself. Where are we at? Right hand goes across. So from this cross, we're going to add some coordination. Exhale as you squeeze like a row and then pull back. You're switching hands each time the hands go forward. So one hand's on top, next time the other hand is on top. Let's go 2 and 1. Hold your 90. Start rotating shoulders up and down. Now as you move the shoulders, feel the movement in the scapula. Feel the connection of the shoulders to the rib cage. You can feel the space being created through the vertebrae. And then we'll take the hands, bind them behind the back, and circle across the sacrum. Give it a little press. Maybe you can extend the arms, open the heart from here, roll the shoulders away from midline. Take the hands out, give them a shake, and then if you're seated, let's just come up onto the knees into quadruped. And from knees, we can just extend the legs back to quadruped. Tuck your toes under and bounce off your feet. You're engaging the toes, you're pushing the toes into the floor, you're starting to wake up the ankles and the shins. And then we're gonna roll right onto our feet and try to just get the ankles to stretch a little bit more. Now, if your mobility is not here yet, you can just come up into a squat position, not a low squat, but just like a medium squat, and start rolling around on the feet. If you're fine staying low with me here, you can roll, you can go right to left, you can wiggle the toes, push them down. Maybe you want to use the hands for some support as you go up higher onto the toe. And then I'm going to extend forward straight into my downward facing dog. So just walk the hands, walk the feet back, open up the knees, try to press the heels down to get into the back of the legs. And then from downward facing dog, we're just going to let the hips go right to left, let the feet move around, open up the toes, try to spread them away from each other. And on the exhale, we'll roll forward to plank, keeping that plank position, knees down if you need to, fingertips are just tapping straight forward. Use this to find the core. So if you need to lower the knees, you're not in a quadruped, you're in a supported plank, which looks more like this, not like this. If you're still here with me in plank, let's go 3, 2, and 1. Now quadruped, bring the knees down and open and close into cat-cow. Go deeper with the breathing here. We're going to hold the exhale, hold the round, squeeze and move around. Find your internal organs. Give them a little massage. And then we're going back to our downward facing dog just for a breath. And then step or hop to the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll vertebrae by vertebrae. You can keep the hands down or bring them up and overhead. Exhale, right back to the bottom. Inhale, chair pose, palms reach. I like pulling my thumbs back behind me. I feel like it engages more back muscle. And then we'll just alternate palm pulling towards the back. 2 and 1. Flat back, hands to thighs. Lengthen the spine, take a breath. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair. Exhale, straight through your version of vinyasa, which means you can lower your knees on your chaturanga. You could do no chaturanga. You can make your chaturanga as hard as you like. Shake it out in downward facing dog. Release the hips. From there, float that right arm up to the sky and just fall to a left side plank. Just do a few hip dips here. You're focusing on the under part of the body, the core, pushing the floor away from you. 2, hold at the top. Maybe the right toes can float. Maybe you can do a little movement with the right toes, tapping front to back. Eventually, you can use that right hand if you need to connect to the leg and bring it forward, but our right foot is going top of the mat, back heel is lowering. Inhale to your low lunge stance. Exhale, sweep and throw back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sweep. One more. Exhale, sweep it back. Now flip the palms up, open the chest, and out a tricep push here. Keep lifting towards the ceiling. 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, rise. Sink it a little deeper. See if you can peel the right toes up off the floor. You can even do a little tap on the right side, finding the shin. So as the toes come up, it's working through the ankle and the shin muscles all the way to the knee. 2, and now left palm goes down. You're going to open up the right foot and let the left hip sink. So this top arm is supporting. The side body is getting a stretch. The outer hip is getting a stretch. And also this right leg is getting a nice stretch here. You can always walk the foot wherever you need to. Maybe you have to walk it farther back for the hips to release. Whatever feels good. Now using the front foot, using the hands, lift yourself back up. We're going to go into a reverse warrior. So the back heel is going to sink down. Notice my front knee's in a 90, my back leg is long. Push the floor away from you, hug your hips in. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, sweep through, cartwheel the arms, take it through your version, chaturanga. Inhale through cobra. Exhale to our downward facing dog. Bend the knees, step or hop up. Inhale to flat. Exhale to fold. Inhale, chair pose. Thumbs to back wall, engage the ab muscles. Let's do a couple chair squats here. Push the floor away from you. Connect to the floor beneath you. Connect to your hips and your glutes. Last one. Holding at the bottom, hands to heart center. Now lift up enough that you can tuck your abs in. So if you see me from the side, I just went from here, lift it up so I could squeeze into my abdominals. Now the hands are just pushing right to left, but it's not going to look like anything because my hands are connected together. But I'm pushing my hand to the right, and then my left hand is pushing. This is going to twist through your core and activate your core muscles. So you're not just using the abs, but you feel the arms working to twist as well. Oh, that gets right to the core. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, palms rise. Exhale to fold. Inhale, flat. Exhale, your version, chaturanga. Cobra. Into our downward facing dog. Left arm sweeps open. Find your side plank. Lock into the core. You can add a couple hip dips here. And then maybe you can float the top leg. You can do little toe taps front to back if you'd like. Eventually using this top hand if you need to help support the top leg. You're bringing the left foot to the top of the mat. Lowering the back knee. Inhale, palms rise for low lunge. Exhale, sweep. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Flip the palms up, open the chest. Tricep push. Triceps, I need to work more triceps. It's so hard for me to find my triceps here. Really focus on pushing up towards the ceiling. My arms want to go out always. 2 and 1. Inhale, palms rise. So from there, you can extend a little farther. You can lift the sternum. You can add the left side toe tap. It's not momentum that's moving the toes. We're working the front of the ankle, front of the shin. 2 and 1. Now the right hand comes down. My left toe is open. My right side body gets that nice, deep, long stretch. Remember, you can move the top knee wherever you need. You can pull it back if you need to. Oh, I love this stretch so much. One more breath here. And then we'll use the hands, use the planted foot, lift the hips up so there's space. Now from there, we're going to go into our reverse. So from high lunge, back heel lowers. Inhale, push the floor away from you, reverse. Exhale, bring it all the way down, cartwheel to the floor, and your version chaturanga. Maybe you want to add a few push-ups this time. 3, 2, if you're with me, landing cobra. And you can always bend the elbows here. Just keep the shoulders from rounding forward. Try to open up the chest. Make space across the collarbones. Bringing the chin down. Let's go right into our downward facing dog and shake it out to release the hips. Check in with your palms. Index fingers are forward. And then we'll bend the knees. Step or hop, wide stance this time. Inhale to a flat. Keep your flat back and add any sort of movement from the ribs. Try to move the ribs, isolate the ribs away from the hip joint. If you want to make it more challenging, you can bring the hands out to the sides. Now you have to stabilize more with your glute muscles because you don't have your hands on the floor. I'm going to do some serratus anterior reaches across. So it's like I'm opening, fanning, and then I'm squeezing to contract all those muscles I just opened. 2, and landing in a goddess. Hands go behind the head. Heels and toes out, sink it down. Squeeze your glute muscles if your knees are caving in. Pull the knees wide, hold. Soften through the shoulders. Try to get heavier in the hips. Maybe you can add a little bounce here. A little bit more work in the hip line. And then we're going to shift toes forward. As the toes go forward, the hands are going back. You press forward to a squat. Palms up on the way down. Use your breathing as you exhale. Press up. Let's go for a few more. 3, 2, 1. At the bottom, take opposite elbow. Any kind of movement that feels good here. Sigh it out, let it go, whatever you need. Then we're adding a spinal twist. So if your legs aren't wider than the mat already, take them a little bit wider. We're still doing our lunge right to left, trying to keep the pinky toes down, but now we're gonna add a twist. So as I go to one side, the opposite hand plants, the top arm opens. Exhale through center, opposite twist, inhale as you open. Exhale through center, inhale as you open. Exhale, one more each side. Connect with your breathing. Find your breath. And then back through center. The hands are going to plant. I'm really high on my mat, so I'm just going to wiggle back a little bit. Hands plant, rock forward to the toes. As you rock forward, load to the upper back, load to the shoulders. Maybe as you rock forward, you feel your abs. You can float one toe up. If you're doing one toe, do the other side. I guess I could go for doubles. You could do a little hop too. Push the floor away from you. In handstand prepping, the fingertips are so important. Can you do a little double hop up, land at hips distance? Hi, inhale to flat. Exhale to fold. Let's sink it down into our malasana, open up the toes. Use the hand or the elbows to push the knees wide. Maybe you can let the palms come down here. Sitting up nice and tall. If this is still a challenging pose for you, you can always take a moment to get a pillow or a block and sit on that. That'll help you release the hips. Hands are going to walk behind the body and turn the heels, toes forward. Now walk the hands a little farther, and we can open up into a reverse table. Try to lift the hips at least knee level, maybe a little bit higher. Shoulders, chest are open. Exhale as you bring the hips back. So you can either bring the butt down here, or you can work an L-sit. Your arms are locked. You're scooping your core in and extending back. Now as you come up, one hand taps the opposite toe. Press back, squeeze your abs, and shift. So when you're doing this one, there's no such thing as arms aren't long enough. You've got to just engage the ab muscles, and maybe your abs just aren't there yet. You're using your core to lift your butt as close as you can toward the rib cage. Last one. And then bring it down to seated. Hold the knees close to the body. Come into a round, maybe tuck the chin. You're creating compression in the front body. Taking the breath into the back body. On the next exhale, let's release it into a hollow hold. Abs are active. We just created a little bit of compression in the front body. And we're going to squeeze and hold. For 3, 2, bring the fingertips to the center. As the feet go down, try to come up a little bit higher. Now flex the feet. Check in with the abdominals. They're locked into place. We're going right to left and then lifting through center. These are deep abdominal crunches. Focus on the connection of the sits bones into the floor. Breathe and squeeze. Find all the muscles in the abdomen. Let's go one more here. And now we're just going to stay forward and unroll. If you like adding some movement, feel free to add a little rolling front to back first. Last time through, this time as we come up, we'll cross the ankles, go through your version of vinyasa. Once you're there in cobra, we're just going to come all the way down to the floor. I'm going to wiggle myself back on my mat again. Fingertips are extending forward, and I'm spidered fingers. I'm engaging my fingers to the floor. And then the feet are going to flex, lift the legs off the floor. Now squeeze your abdominals, squeeze your glutes. The neck is nice and long. There's no crunching or sinking. You're just nice, long, neutral neck. And we're going to take the toes 2 out and 2 back to center. Now as you engage the abdominals, maybe you feel your low back and glute. Hopefully you feel your low back and glute muscles working to move the leg. If you want to try doubles, it is a little bit more challenging. Lift, open, and then lift and bring it back in. Keep the feet active, keep the glutes active. For 3, 2, holding a wide stance. Keep the feet a little bit flexed so that you can lift up and push back into a frog pose. Now, frog is on the inside of the knees and the inside of the feet, so we stretch our groin. So if your feet are close together and that's where you're at, that's fine. Eventually, you start working the feet wider until the knees and hips are in one line. Now you have a nice, well, knees and hips, I meant knees and heels in one line, and you have a nice 90-degree in the knee. So abs are in, and we push the hips back. We're just holding here for a couple breaths. Don't want to stretch it out too much. We still have a little bit of work to do. Taking one more breath here. And then as we exhale, now shift the hips forward, bring the toes together, and you can walk the knees in. Flip the palms down, index finger, wrist, forearm, elbow, all working to the floor. Press the floor away from you to lift. Push the head between the triceps. You can do little toe taps from here, just engaging your knee in, engaging your thigh to your belly. I'm going to turn a little bit just to make sure that you can see. This isn't such a big movement. I'm just focusing on that little core crunch as I shift forward. Shift back on my mat. Let's do a couple more. You can also drive the knee to the outside of the elbow, and that's going to hit the obliques a little differently. One more. Back to center. Find a static dolphin pose to hold. Now push the floor away from you. Continue to make space in the spine. There's no tension on the neck or the head. You're using the entire forearm, the entire wrist, the entire palm to fingertips. And then exhale, bring the knees down. Keep the head down for now. You can just extend into a quadruped position. Then when you're ready, we'll add some big opening circles right to left to expand across the body. One arm, same side leg goes open. We're going to land with the right hand down, and the left hand, the top hand, is going to bind to the top foot. You can see it's in front of my body. I'm then going to flex the foot and kick behind my body. Now, as I kick behind my body, this top shoulder has to simultaneously roll open. Now I can get all this space in the front body here. Keep the gaze down if you're working on balance. Push the floor away from you. Your planted palm and planted leg are doing all the work to help stabilize. Keep breathing. Now, as you bring the knee back in, that shoulder wants to come back together, and then you're going to step the left foot forward and come right up into your high lunge twist. From your high lunge twist, left arm can go back. Roll the shoulder open one more time. Take a breath. And then we'll take the left palm and plant it to frame the top leg. Now, all the weight shifts forward to that top leg as the back leg is stepping through to a little curtsy. And I'm not even landing my foot right now. I'm just loading onto this front side hip and glute. More challenging, your hands come off the floor. I'm just going to do a little tap to try not to hit my microphone. For 3, 2, this time holding fingertips down, stand split, lengthen the bottom leg, use the top glute to get the leg longer. Take a deep breath here. If you want to go back into a balance, one hand goes to ankle, maybe both hands go to ankle. Oh, it's been a minute since I've done that. And then we'll go through your version of chaturanga. So hands plant, feet step to plank, your version chaturanga, cobra, and downward facing dog. Bend the knees, step or hump up. Inhale to flat, exhale to fold. Inhale, rise, palms lift. Exhale, palms open to the sides, sink into chair. Let's add some big reaches up and overhead, and my hands are staying out to the side, so they're not going directly forward. I'm creating this big wingspan to the sides. Now palms go together, heart center, inhale, rise. Exhale to fold. Inhale, flat. Exhale through your version chaturanga. Maybe you add some push-ups. And then back through cobra. And back instead of going to to downward facing, we go quadruped. Okay, moving on to the left side. Left palm down. Right side opens up. So now I'm taking that top arm. I'm binding, on top of the foot. Everything's in front of the body. As I move to the back of the body, you flex to kick back. You roll the chest open, shoulder open, and then you have lots of space in the front body here. Bottom palm is planted. Bottom leg is working. You can keep the gaze down. One more breath. Now as you exhale, bring it back through center. The top foot, my right leg, is going to plant, and I can open directly into my high lunge twist. Right arm goes behind the hip. Roll the shoulder open. Dig a little deeper. Find a twist in the core. Remember, the twist isn't coming from the hips. We're twisting against the hips. And then you can bring the right hand down to frame. Now I'm framing across that front foot. Back toe, my left toe is going to tap forward. So you're loading up on this front hip, loading up on the glute muscle. Maybe your hands can do a little tap. Keep the planted toes working to the mat. 3, 2. Now we'll find a hold. Extend to stand split. Open up that bottom hamstring. Use the glute muscles to lift the top leg. If you're going for a balance on this side, it's starting with one hand, other hand. You can move to the ankles. You can bring the hands up higher. You could just float them off the floor. Doesn't matter. Just play around with it a little bit. And then we'll release the bind, bend the front knee, and then step the left foot to hips distance. I want us to sink into a deep squat here for a stretch. So we're not staying active, we're bringing it down, we're using the knees in the armpit if we can get them there, and we're massaging through the lymph system here. And then from there, we're going to take the hands to the floor. And if you're really close, if your thighs are really close to your belly, you might have to kind of fall forward to get the hands to the floor. And then knees are close to the mat. Just go ahead and walk yourself front to back a few times. Let's go one more front to back. Keep the knees close to the floor to make the abdominals work. Eventually lengthening out in plank and lowering all the way to the floor. So my right arm is going to walk. I'm going to continue to walk the arm until the shoulder plants and then fold directly on top of the shoulder. So you want to continue to walk the arm until the shoulder is touching the ground to make sure that when you're folding, when you're rolling, the shoulder isn't sliding. It's just planted and you're folding to create that stretch. Bottom palm is flat to the floor. Sometimes I combine my words and then no one knows what I'm saying. Then coming back through center, we'll take the opposite hand out, left palm reaches, walks. Look, my shoulder touched. Now I can roll and feel the stretch. Coming back through center, take a moment to massage across the sacrum. You just take your knuckles right around the sacrum, right around the low back. And then we're going to transfer onto our back. So however you would like to get there, I just go through quadruped, walk it up, and then come onto the back. Legs up in the air to start, releasing the blood from the legs. Maybe giving the ankles a little shake, the toes a little shake. Taught multiple classes this morning, so there are multiple sequences going through my head today. I hope I covered both sides of everything. After a while, it gets a little confusing which class I'm teaching. And then we'll bring the feet into a Baddha Konasana, a butterfly. So the feet are together and heels are to the groin. Take the hands to the belly and give it a belly massage. If you feel any tight spots, any tension, any stuck energy, you can stop in those areas and give it some extra love, some extra pressure and massage. I love taking my thumbs into my hip bones, into my hip flexors, and just massaging around, trying to loosen up the space. Stretch is great, movement is great, but there's other things that really impact our muscles and our joints, our food, massage, sleep, all sorts of things. So these are great practices, but there's a lot of other things that are involved as well. Anyway, I'm not here to lecture you, even though lecturing about health is my top most favorite thing to do. Take the feet to hips distance, let the knees windshield wipe. And then if you want to go a little bit more with that windshield wipe, you just bring the knees up and create these big circles that'll massage around your sacrum. And then landing in a happy baby, you take a bind to the outside of the feet, pull the knees down, feet down through the knees. I like to do a little rock right to left. And we'll finish up with one bridge pose, optional bind for the chest. So I land in bridge, I lift the hips, I'm going to walk my arms under. Now notice how my shoulders rounded forward so I could get the bind. Once I have the bind, I then have to open the chest. So I have the bind, and as I walk my hands towards my heels, I'm going to roll each shoulder open and lay on top of them as best I can. Now, weight of my body is kind of keeping my shoulders in place. And as I lift, I can feel a deeper stretch. And gently releasing, using the hands to support your hips on the way down. Taking a breath, taking a moment, checking back in with yourself. If you brought anything into your practice, any sort of mantra, intention, you can check back in with that. Checking back in with the space around you. And always checking in with the space within us. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you'd like. I'm going to roll it over to the side. And then press it up through center to seated. Hope you enjoyed that little practice today. As I said, I taught multiple classes already today, so I hope that was everything. And if not, come back and do it again on the other side. So inhale, palms rise. Exhale, hands to your heart. Thank you for joining me today on this practice, on this journey we call life, health, wellness, whatever journey you're on. I will see you next time on the House of Chi.